Ladies and gentlemen, imagine walking into a room full of people, each with an opinion about you. Some admiring, some indifferent, and others quietly judging. One moment you hear praise and your confidence soars. The next, a whisper of criticism reaches your ears, and suddenly doubt creeps in. Why do we allow the words of others to dictate how we feel? Why does a single insult linger longer than 100 compliments? Now picture a different scenario. You enter the same room, but this time nothing moves you. Praise does not inflate you, and criticism does not deflate you. You remain steady, untouched, because you have discovered something far more powerful than external approval. You have mastered yourself. The truth is, most people spend their lives as puppets, their emotions controlled by the strings of public opinion. A slight pull and they react, joyful, angry, anxious. But what if you could cut those strings? What if no one could make you feel inferior, unworthy, or unimportant ever again? Today, we uncover the spiritual secret to never letting anyone affect you, a secret that will free you from the need for validation, shield you from negativity, and give you the unshakable confidence to live life on your own terms. True peace is not found in the fleeting approval or disapproval of others, but in the quiet depth of one's own soul. The world outside is ever-changing, shifting like the tide, but the world within can be steadfast, a place untouched by the chaos of external voices. Many believe that happiness or contentment comes from how others perceive them, but this is a fragile existence. To build one's identity on the opinions of the world is to stand upon sand, where every wave of criticism or praise reshapes the foundation beneath. The strength of the inner world lies in its permanence. Everything external, applause, insults, admiration, rejection, is temporary. A person who lives by these things is like a candle flickering in the wind, never steady, always dependent on forces outside themselves. But there is another way to live, one that does not waver with every passing remark or momentary slight. This way is found in cultivating an inner world so rich and deeply rooted that it no longer requires validation from outside. Consider a great oak tree standing in the midst of a storm. The wind howls, the rain pours, and yet the tree remains firm because its roots go deep. It does not panic, nor does it sway in fear, for it knows its strength is not in the approval of the sky, but in the depth of the earth below. So it must be with the soul. A person whose strength comes from within is not easily shaken, for their worth is not determined by others, but by the unchanging truth they hold inside. The danger of neglecting the inner world is that one becomes a slave to external circumstances. If a person's sense of self is dictated by others, then they are no more than a mirror reflecting the world around them. Their mood rises when praised and falls when criticized. Their confidence sways with public opinion, and their identity shifts with every conversation. They are not truly living, but merely reacting. This is why so many find themselves exhausted, anxious, and uncertain. They have placed the key to their peace in the hands of those who neither know nor care to protect it. True strength comes when one realizes that the world has no real power over them. It may speak, it may judge, it may even try to define, but it cannot enter the fortress of the mind unless invited. The person who understands this does not become arrogant or indifferent, but rather unshakable. They walk through life with a quiet assurance, knowing that what is said about them does not change who they are. They do not seek applause, nor do they fear criticism. Instead, they live with the steady confidence of someone who has found a source of peace that no man can take away. It is in the silent, unseen places of the soul that true power is found. The world may offer noise, but it cannot disturb the depths of one who has chosen to build their life on something greater. No one holds power over your emotions unless you willingly hand it to them. The world is full of voices. Some will praise you, Others will criticize, and many will misunderstand. But their words, no matter how loud, do not possess any real force over your inner life, unless you allow them to. People often believe that they are at the mercy of how others treat them, reacting instinctively to praise with joy and to insult with sorrow. Yet this is an illusion, a false belief that grants others a control they were never meant to have. Imagine a traveler walking along a path. Along the way, strangers call out, some with kindness, some with cruelty. If the traveler stops to engage with every voice, they will never reach their destination. Worse still, they will begin to forget why they started walking in the first place. This is how most people live, constantly responding to the shifting voices around them, letting each remark shape their sense of self. They do not see that they have the choice to keep walking, to let words pass by like leaves in the wind. The greatest danger lies in believing that external circumstances determine inner peace. If a person thinks their happiness depends on the approval of others, they will live in constant anxiety, always striving to please, always fearing rejection. Their mood will rise and fall like a ship on stormy seas, never steady, never truly free. But freedom comes when one understands that no insult, no betrayal, no act of malice can truly harm them unless they choose to let it in. The heart is a fortress, and only its owner decides who may enter. This does not mean one should become indifferent to the world or ignore all criticism. It means recognizing the difference between what is within one's control and what is not. A person may be kind, honest, and full of integrity, yet still be met with misunderstanding and false judgment. To expect otherwise is to expect the impossible. The world is full of people who see only what they wish to see, who judge not by truth but by their own limitations. Their words reflect more about themselves than about the person they speak of. Knowing this, why should one take their words to heart? The moment a person realizes this truth, they gain a strength that cannot be taken away. They cease to be controlled by the shifting opinions of others. They learn to respond rather than react, to choose stillness over anger, and to walk forward even when others try to pull them back. They become like a mountain in the face of the wind, unmoved, unshaken, untouched. No one can place chains upon a free mind. The world may try to shape, to control, to define, but in the end, it has no true power. The only real power is the choice to remain unshaken, to hold on to truth, and to walk forward, untouched by the illusions of external control. When a person anchors their life in a purpose greater than themselves, the noise of the world begins to fade into insignificance. The opinions of men, the shifting tides of approval and disapproval, no longer hold weight against the magnitude of a higher calling. Those who live solely for themselves are easily swayed by the voices around them, seeking validation, fearing rejection, and constantly adjusting their course to match the expectations of others. But the one who serves a purpose beyond mere self-interest stands firm, unmoved by the fleeting judgments of the world. A river that flows toward the ocean does not pause to explain itself to the pebbles along its path. It does not slow down for those who question its direction or stop for those who misunderstand its purpose. It moves forward with quiet certainty, knowing its destination is greater than any obstacle in its way. Likewise, a person who is committed to something higher, a truth, a mission, a calling, does not waste time worrying about who approves or disapproves. Their direction is clear, and that clarity brings freedom. When a person lives for something eternal, they recognize how small and temporary human opinions really are. The applause of today turns to silence tomorrow, and the harshest critic will one day be forgotten. To measure one's worth by such unstable things is to build a house on shifting sand. But when life is anchored in something unshakable, there is no fear of collapse. One can endure rejection, betrayal, and misunderstanding without losing their peace, for their foundation is not in the hands of men, but in something far greater. History is filled with those who walked this path. The greatest thinkers, leaders, and visionaries were often ridiculed in their time. Many were scorned, rejected, even condemned. Yet they remained steadfast because they served a purpose that transcended the moment. They understood that the value of their work was not dependent on whether it was immediately recognized or praised. Truth does not require permission to exist, nor does it cease to be true simply because it is unpopular. There is a profound strength in knowing that one's mission is greater than personal comfort or reputation. The storms of criticism lose their force when they are seen for what they truly are, distractions, not destinations. A person who understands this walks through life with a quiet confidence, undisturbed by the noise around them. They do not seek approval, yet they do not fear opposition. They do not waver, because their eyes are fixed on something beyond the reach of the world's fleeting opinions. To live for a higher purpose is to live in freedom. It is to be unshaken by the praise or scorn of others, to move forward with unwavering resolve, and to find peace in the knowledge that what truly matters is not measured by human voices. In this, there is great power. The power to remain steadfast, to endure, and to never be controlled by the shifting winds of the world. The moment a person allows others to define their worth, they become a prisoner. Seeking validation from the world is like chasing shadows. No matter how close one gets, it always moves just out of reach. There is no lasting satisfaction in approval because it is fleeting, changing with time, mood, and circumstance. A person who builds their identity on the opinions of others will always live in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of being forgotten. But true freedom begins when one realizes that their value is not something to be given or taken by others. It is something intrinsic, something beyond the reach of human judgment. Imagine standing before a mirror that reflects not your own image, but the opinions of everyone around you. Each time someone praises you, the reflection glows. Each time someone criticizes you, it darkens. If this mirror dictates your sense of self, you will live in constant anxiety, forever adjusting yourself to appear pleasing in the eyes of others. But this mirror is a lie. It does not show the truth. It only reflects the inconsistent, ever-changing perceptions of people who often do not even understand themselves. The desire to be liked, to be admired, to be seen as valuable is natural, but when it becomes the foundation of one's self-worth, it leads to a life of insecurity. There will always be those who misunderstand, who judge unfairly, who criticize without reason. If their words hold power over your peace, then your happiness is not your own. It belongs to them. But no one should have such power over another's soul. To place one's worth in the hands of others is to give them control over one's emotions, confidence, and even actions. The one who truly understands their value does not seek to prove it. They do not need to convince others of their worth because they know it is not dependent on external validation. They do not rise when praised, nor do they fall when criticized. Their confidence comes from something deeper, something unshaken by the shifting voices of the world. This does not mean arrogance, nor does it mean ignoring constructive criticism. It means knowing that external approval is not the measure of one's existence. Those who spend their lives chasing validation will find themselves exhausted, forever running toward a finish line that keeps moving. But those who stand firm in their own truth, who refuse to let others dictate their self-worth, find a peace that cannot be stolen. The world will always have opinions, but they are nothing more than passing winds. To build one's identity upon them is to be forever tossed about. But to root oneself in something greater, something unchangeable, is to stand firm no matter how the winds blow. The greatest secret is this: you do not need anyone's permission to be enough. You do not need their approval to be whole. The moment you stop seeking validation, you become truly free. And in that freedom, you find the strength to live as you were meant to, unshaken, unmoved, and entirely yourself. The world often teaches that strength is found in loudness, in the ability to dominate conversations, in making one's presence known. Yet true strength is not in noise, but in stillness. A person who remains calm in the face of chaos, who does not react impulsively to every insult or provocation, possesses a power greater than any outward show of force. It is not the one who shouts the loudest that holds control, but the one who refuses to be disturbed by the shouting of others. Imagine a great lion resting under a tree. Around it, smaller creatures bark and growl, trying to provoke a reaction. But the lion does not move. It does not waste its energy proving its strength to those beneath it. It knows what it is, and that knowledge is enough. There is no need to defend itself against every challenge, no need to roar in response to every noise. This is the essence of inner strength, the quiet assurance that nothing outside can disturb the peace within unless permitted to do so. The world is filled with distractions, each demanding a reaction. Someone says something unkind, and immediately there is the temptation to respond with anger. A slight misunderstanding occurs, and the urge arises to defend one's reputation. But the wise person understands that not every battle is worth fighting. Many conflicts exist only in the mind, fueled by the ego's need to be right, to be seen, to be justified. True strength is found in the ability to let go, to walk away from unnecessary struggles, to choose peace over pointless conflict. This does not mean silence in the face of true injustice, nor does it mean allowing oneself to be trampled upon. It means choosing battles wisely, understanding that not every attack requires a defense, and not every insult deserves attention. When a person stops reacting to every provocation, they gain control over themselves, and the one who has control over themselves is more powerful than the one who controls many others. There is a difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is instant, emotional, often unthinking. It gives control to the external world, allowing circumstances to dictate behavior. A response, however, is deliberate. It is measured, chosen, based on wisdom rather than impulse. The one who learns to respond rather than react becomes unshakable. They no longer live at the mercy of others' words or actions, but move through life with a steady confidence that cannot be easily disturbed. In a world that constantly seeks to provoke, the greatest power lies in refusing to be provoked. The ability to remain still while everything around demands a reaction is a strength few possess. Those who master it discover a deep and lasting peace. A peace that is not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in something unchangeable. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that no external force has the power to control one's inner world unless it is allowed to do so. And in that knowledge, one finds true freedom. When a person realizes that their emotions, thoughts, and reactions are within their control, they gain a power that few ever achieve. Most people go through life believing they are at the mercy of circumstances, that how they feel depends on what happens to them. They allow others to dictate their mood, their peace, and even their self-worth. A harsh word from someone can ruin their day, while a compliment can make them feel momentarily important. But this is a fragile way to live, for it places the key to one's happiness in the hands of others. True strength comes when one understands that no external force can control their inner world unless they allow it to. Consider a captain steering a ship through a storm. The waves crash, the winds howl, but the captain remains steady at the helm. He knows that while he cannot control the storm, he can control how he navigates through it. If he panics, the ship will be lost. If he remains calm and focused, he will reach his destination no matter how violent the storm becomes. There will always be storms, moments of criticism, rejection, misunderstanding, but they do not have the power to sink a person unless that person lets them. It is a dangerous illusion to believe that one's emotions are dictated by external events. When a person accepts this idea, they become powerless, always reacting instead of choosing their response. They become easily offended, easily discouraged, and easily manipulated by the words and actions of others. But the truth is that every person has the ability to decide how they will interpret a situation and how they will respond to it. No insult, no betrayal, no act of injustice has the ability to control one's emotions unless permission is given. This understanding does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending that pain does not exist. It means recognizing that pain, disappointment, and frustration are inevitable, but suffering over them is a choice. The moment one stops expecting the world to be fair, stops hoping that everyone will be kind, and stops believing that happiness depends on external circumstances, they begin to live with true freedom. They stop wasting energy trying to control what is beyond their reach and instead focus on mastering what is within, their own mind, their own heart, their own actions. A person who learns this lesson becomes unshakable. They walk through life with a quiet power, undisturbed by the chaos around them. They no longer need the approval of others to feel worthy, nor do they fear criticism. They do not react impulsively to every slight, nor do they allow external events to dictate their state of mind. Instead, they move with intention, choosing their responses, guarding their peace, and living with a strength that no one can take from them. This is the greatest secret of all. Not that the world must change for one to find peace, but that peace is already within, waiting to be claimed. True freedom is not found in controlling the world around you, but in mastering yourself. When you stop allowing others to dictate your emotions, when you cease seeking validation from fleeting opinions, and when you anchor yourself in a purpose greater than momentary approval, you become unshakable. The noise of the world no longer disturbs your peace, and the storms of criticism no longer shake your foundation. You learn that no insult, no rejection, and no misunderstanding has the power to define you, unless you let it. Strength lies in stillness, in choosing your battles wisely, in responding rather than reacting. It is in recognizing that your emotions, your thoughts, and your inner world belong to you alone. No one can take your peace unless you hand it over. And once you realize this truth, you will walk through life with a quiet confidence that no force can break. May you walk forward with strength, unshaken by the opinions of others and unburdened by the need for external validation. May you hold on to the power that is already within you, the power to choose peace, to stand firm, and to live freely. Thank you for taking this journey of understanding, and may you always carry with you the wisdom to remain untouched by the distractions of the world. Best of luck on your path, and may you never let anyone affect the greatness within you.